Will is a janitor at MIT with an exceptional talent for mathematics and a remarkable memory, but dropped out early due to his rebellious nature. One day, he discovers a math problem on a school hallway blackboard and solves it effortlessly at home, unknowing answering a challenge posed by a Fields Medal-winning professor meant for his students, which none could solve. This problem, only solvable by a few, including Nobel laureates, caused a sensation in the math department. The professor sought to identify this genius, posting an even harder problem on the blackboard, which took the math department 2 years to solve. For Will, it was merely a trivial puzzle. He solved it in under a minute. The professor, mistaking Will for vandalizing, was shocked to find the difficult problem effortlessly solved by a janitor. Will spends his free time with friends, fighting injustice while also causing trouble. During one fight, he's arrested by the police and in court, Will defends himself using knowledge from a single reading of the American Constitution, silencing lawyers but not the judge, who insists on imprisoning him for his numerous offenses, fighting, theft, and resisting arrest, despite Will's history of successfully defending himself. This time, the judge is adamant. "I won't listen. You're guilty." Meanwhile, the professor, having found Will's information through the school administration, witnesses his court defense and becomes interested in this rebellious genius. He seeks to bail Will out under 2 conditions. Will must meet with the professor weekly for advanced math training and see a psychologist. Will's extraordinary mathematical talent delights the professor, who is determined to mentor him. However, finding suitable psychological counseling for Will proves challenging. Will, having briefly skimmed some psychology books, easily manipulates the counselors assigned to him, even deducing one counselor's homosexuality from his body language, which deeply affects the psychologist. Attempts with a hypnotist also fail, as Will mocks them. Left with no choice, Professor Lambeau turns to his old friend Professor Sean, describing Will as an unparalleled genius and hoping Sean can breach Will's defensive nature. Initially, their conversation seems productive, but Will exposes Sean's grief over his wife's death, angering him while also intriguing him. Meanwhile, Will meets a girl named Skylar and starts dating her while undergoing therapy. During a second meeting by a river, Sean shares how Will's words kept him awake, but he eventually found peace. Sean said, "You're just a child. You have no idea what you're talking about. You can learn various superficial arguments from art books and express all sorts of artistic viewpoints, but you've never left this place. You don't know the smell of the Sistine Chapel, nor have you stood there admiring the beautiful ceiling, but I do. If I ask about women, you might have slept with a few girls, but you can't describe the joy of waking up next to a woman you love. You're just a very stubborn child. If I asked you about war, you can quote Shakespeare, 'Once more into the breach, dear friends.' But you've never felt holding your friend's head in your lap, watching him call for help in your arms and then breathe his last. If I asked you about love, you can recite a sonnet. But you've never seen a woman's vulnerability, how she can knock you down with her eyes, making you feel she's an angel come down to you. She can save you from hell. You don't understand what it's like to be her angel, to have her love forever. After everything, experiencing cancer, you can't grasp what it's like to lie in a hospital for 2 months. You don't understand true loss because only when you love someone more than yourself can you comprehend it. Looking at you, I don't see intelligence or confidence, just a child scared by the world. You're a genius, undeniable, but no one really understands you. You think you can understand me through a painting. I can't get to know you through any book or knowledge. Only if you talk about who you are can I be fascinated by you. Will remain silent throughout this conversation. Will and his friends work on construction sites by day and at night. He calls Skylar in the rain, but doesn't know what to say when she answers. In the following therapy session, Dr. Sean and Will are silent, waiting for the other to speak first. Will breaks the silence with a joke, then talks about a girl he met but hasn't called back because he thinks she's perfect and doesn't want to ruin that by finding out she's not as smart. Sean suggests maybe he doesn't want to ruin his own perception of perfection, saying, "It's an interesting philosophy. With that, you'll never really know anyone." Then Sean shares how his wife used to fart when nervous and other quirks, laughing about how one loud fart woke their dog. He laughs, remembering these small traits that made her his wife, despite both knowing each other's imperfections. The best things are the imperfections that let us choose who enters our world. You and the girl aren't perfect. The question is whether you're perfect for each other. That's what intimacy is about. You can know everything in the world, but the only way to discover is to try. Will is left wanting more, but Sean says their time is up. Will goes to find Skylar, gathering the courage to ask her out again. Their relationship makes rapid progress and heats up quickly. During subsequent therapy sessions with Sean, Will talks to him about everything. Will gradually opens up to Sean. One day, Lambeau approaches Sean, urging him to accelerate the process to break down Will's defenses. Lambeau says compared to Will, he's nothing. In 1905, many professors were famous for their research on the universe, but it was a 26-year-old clerk studying physics in his spare time who changed the world. We would all lose something. Lambeau believes Will has great talent but lacks direction, and we should provide that for him. Lambeau wants to cultivate Will into a great mathematician who can change the world. However, Sean mentions a student with extraordinary mathematical talent who became an assistant to a very famous professor and ended up as the Unabomber. Direction is one thing, but manipulation is another, Sean argues. You have to let him discover it himself. Lambeau insists he's not planning to ruin Will's life. He was doing advanced mathematics at 18, but still took 20 years to win the Fields Medal. Maybe Will doesn't want to do what you think, Sean suggests. Life is just a series of messed up medals. Lambeau arranges a job for Will at a big company, but Will has his friends mess up the interviews on purpose. Skylar asks Will to go to California with her, but Will says if they go to California, she might find she doesn't like him anymore and be too embarrassed to take back her words. Then he'd be stuck in California with someone who doesn't love him, filled with regret every day. Skylar finds it inexplicably odd when Will stubbornly says he doesn't want to go to California. Will doesn't trust others and fears Skylar's love won't last. Skylar says, "You're afraid I won't love you, but I'm just as scared." Skylar asks what Will is hiding. "I'm an orphan burnt with cigarettes in my childhood." Skylar cries, saying, "I just want to help you. I love you and want to be with you." Skylar declares, "If you say you don't love me, I'll never bother you again." After a pause, Will says, "I don't love you," and leaves. Devastated, Skylar collapses on the bed. Lambeau involves Will in his math project, which progresses swiftly with Will's help. As the project advances, Lambeau struggles to keep up with Will's pace, finding the solutions too simple. Frustrated with explaining his answers, Will sees Lambeau affected deeply. "I often wish I hadn't met you so I could sleep at night without wondering about someone like you out there wasting your talent." Lambeau then introduces Will to a job breaking codes for the insane. Will explains through a domino effect why he doesn't want to work for the naysay. When asked by Sean if he has a soulmate who can open his heart and touch his soul, Will hesitates, saying he does but can't specify anyone. Sean tells Will that what matters is not whether you work for the government, but whether you can follow your heart without constraints. What do you love? What do you want? Some people spend their lives laying bricks so their children can have opportunities like yours. You were born with such opportunities like yours. You were born with such opportunities, yet you run from them. Will asks what's wrong with being a construction worker or a janitor. Sean responds, "I have a little problem. You can be a janitor anywhere. Why choose to be one at one of the world's top institutions? Sneaking around at night solving equations that only 2 people in the world can understand. So, what do you really want to do?" Will asks about Sean's life partner, and Sean says she's dead. Will retorts, "She's dead, and you're too scared to bet on life again." Sean replies, "At least I played the game." Will says, "But you lost. Some people, even if they lose miserably, will still place bets." Will calls Skylar, talking about trivial matters. Skylar interrupts him, saying, "I love you," waiting for Will to say, "I love you too." But Will just says, "Take care," and hangs up. Skylar leaves for California, waiting for Will until the last moment, but he doesn't show up. Will stops seeking out Lambeau and Sean, choosing instead to be with his friends at the construction site. Upon learning this, an enraged Lambeau confronts Professor Sean. Will's friend tells him to leave, saying, "You're my best friend, so don't get it wrong, but if you're still here in 20 years, coming to my house to watch football, still building houses, I'll fucking kill you. I'm not joking. I'll kill you. You have a gift we don't," Will says. "Why does everyone say that? Is it because I'm letting myself down?" His friend replies, "You're not letting yourself down. You're letting me down because if I wake up at 50 still doing this, it's fine, but you have $1 million ticket. You're too scared to cash in. Because I and everyone else would give anything to have what you have. If you stay here for another 20 years, you're insulting us." But do you know what the best part is? The 10 seconds from the parking lot to your front door, because every time I knock, I hope you're not there. No goodbyes, no see you tomorrow, just gone. Lambeau blames Sean for losing Will. Sean says, do you know why he does that? Why he avoids? Why he doesn't trust? Because he was abandoned by those who were supposed to love him most as soon as he was born. Why is he with what you call thugs? Because if he asked them to, they would beat you up for him, and that's loyalty. He pushes people away before they can leave him, a defense mechanism. He's been alone for 20 years, and now you're pushing him, and the tragedy will repeat. Lambeau says, don't let him think giving up is okay, or failing is okay. You hate me because I'm more successful, but I won't apologize for being more successful than you. I achieved what you could have, but ask yourself, do you want Will to feel like a loser too? Sean says, you think I'm a failure, but I'm proud of myself. It was my choice, and I have no regrets. You and your friends pity me. You always talk about your Fields Medal, but why are you still so afraid of failing? Lambeau responds, you may be smarter than me, but you can't blame me for how your life turned out. Sean retorts, I'm not blaming you. It's not about you. It's about that kid. He's a good kid, and I won't let you ruin him like you're trying to ruin him, like you're trying to ruin me. Will can't stand it anymore, pushes the door open, and the argument between the two stops. Afterwards, Lambeau leaves, and Sean says, this is an old matter between him and me. Sean shares with Will his most secretive childhood, revealing that he too was abused by his father, drawing parallels between their experiences. This revelation explains Will's attachment issues and fear of abandonment. Sean assures him, I don't know much, but it's not your fault.
It's not your fault, all right? It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Don't fuck with me. It's not your fault. Don't fuck with me, all right? Don't fuck with me, Sean, not you. It's not your fault. It's not your fault. Oh my God! Oh my God, I'm so sorry! Fuck them, okay?
After Will attends a job interview, Sean asks if the job is what he wants. Will replies, I guess so. Sean says he's going to travel, wanting to take another gamble to see what he can achieve next, and advises Will to do what he truly wants to do. They embrace. On his 21st birthday, Will's close friends gift him a makeshift car as a birthday present. Will comments it's the ugliest car he's ever seen. Sean packs for a trip and Will slips a note into his mailbox. After Will's friends confirm he has left, one smiles knowingly and departs. Sean finds the note reading, if the professor asks about work, say sorry, I've gone to find a girl. Will drives towards California, perhaps finally able to answer Sean's simple question. What do you really want? For me, Good Will Hunting is a movie that genuinely moves me to tears every time I watch it. I don't plan to write an extensive review, but sincerely and unselfishly recommend it. Perhaps only by watching it quietly and attentively can one truly understand what it aims to convey. We've all mocked the lady adorned with all her jewelry. Yet I find myself like a child clutching all their toys, obsessed with information but losing myself. We think we know much, living superficially. We chase too much of what we don't need, spending too much energy. But the more we have, the more lost we feel. As Sean captures Will's heart, Will captures his, perhaps ultimately realizing life's path holds no right or wrong. You live only once. Who's to say your life is a mistake? Don't let others tell you you're a failure. What matters is that you pursue what your heart desires. Maybe all you need after watching this movie is to sincerely ask yourself, what do I really want? That's all for today's commentary. If you liked it, don't forget to follow and share. See you next time.